Hello everyone and welcome back to the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel. My name is Scott and we are here for a fun stream tonight because it is the Clash in Paris Weekend Kickoff stream. Right, WWE aren't doing a kickoff, so we decided we would give you one of ours instead. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to break down all the kind of big stories coming out of the Go Home shows and preview the big event from France's capital this weekend. We're going to do it right after this.
Welcome to the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel. On this channel we bring you some great content from inside and outside of the squared circle. We will go through and offer some in-depth analysis of the biggest events of the year, as well as bringing you exclusive interviews with some of the industry's biggest names. There will also be live show reviews, in-depth features and podcasts. So make sure you give that subscribe button a slam so you don't miss any of the action.
All right, once again, welcome back to the channel, guys. My name is Scott, and we are the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel, here to break down the card for Clash in Paris. And it's a big weekend in wrestling. It's a big week overall for wrestling because we had a big show for AEW last weekend, and of course a huge European tour with TV shows being filmed in Europe as well. So very, very excited to break down Clash in Paris, the kind of almost icing on the cake of what has been, like I say, a busy weekend in pro wrestling over on this side of the pond. Of course, we still have Raw coming to you live from Paris as well. But before we get to that, let's talk about the main event of the weekend. Of course, it is Clash in Paris itself. Thanks to everyone that's joined us for the watch-alongs for the SmackDown show and the Raw show that's took place this week and last week SmackDown in Dublin. It's really been fun. We will be doing a watch-along for Clash in Paris itself. But you are here again for the weekend kickoff show. WWE aren't doing one of their kickoffs, which is always frustrating to me when they don't do it because I quite enjoy them. We like to have a little watch-along experience for them, right? But then we also have our weekend kickoff anyway, where we talk about all the latest rumors and news going into the weekend itself. Raw and SmackDown is in the books. If you haven't seen SmackDown yet, there's going to be some spoilers in this, so be aware of that. So if you do tune out, feel free to come back and watch this video on demand. As I say, tonight SmackDown's already taken place in Lyon, France, and we've already done our instant reaction review for it as well. But let's get to some of the comments that are rolling in already. Lynette's in the house. Always good to see you, Lynette. Hope you're doing well. Says, hey, how you doing, bro? This match card looks tough. Lots to dive into with this match card, of course. How you doing, Scott? I'm doing well. Thank you very much. Very excited to be talking pro wrestling with you guys once again. Thanks for tuning in. F. Sweezy says, is it on YouTube or Peacock or Netflix? So that's the thing about WWE at the moment, right? It's hard to figure out where you're going to find these shows. Now, if you were in Europe or internationally speaking, I think generally everything's on Netflix except for Saturday Night's Main Event, which tends to be on YouTube. Clash in Paris, as far as Europeans go, it's on Netflix. If you're in the States, then it will be on Peacock. That deal continues for a little bit longer. It'll be the last show on Peacock, though, so it'll be interesting to see how that's kind of handled. The first one to go on ESPN, of course, is going to be WrestlePalooza on the 20th of September, which is a Saturday. Of course, this one here is a Sunday, which is a bit odd because we used to always have Sunday pay-per-views. Since they've become PLEs, though, they've become a Saturday fixture. So it's a bit odd having one on a Sunday night, but it'll be a reasonable time for us here in Europe. So that's something I'm looking forward to at least. I have all of them, says F. Sweezy. Good for you, mate. Me too as well. If you have a VPN, then it's a good way to work around them. But yeah, thankfully, I've got access to them as well. And yeah, I'm going to be watching on Netflix, I would imagine. It's a lot easier. Logan Paul's cooked. Yeah, we'll get to Logan Paul and John Cena later on, but if you haven't seen it already, there was a big back and forth between Logan Paul and John Cena on tonight's SmackDown as well. So we'll be touching on some of that as we do go through the card and predict the matches, because of course the go-home shows and the build overall really do kind of lend into that speculation, of course. So let's start getting into it, guys. And of course, I want to know what you think is going to happen at Clash in Paris. What are you most looking forward to as well? I do want to get your comments and hear what you've got to say about it. So again, keep them coming in. We appreciate you watching. If you're lurking in the background, that's all right as well. But if you can drop some comments, we would really appreciate the conversation flowing with you guys as well. Kieran's in the house. Says, yo, I charged my phone. Kieran joined us on a watch along earlier on and says he was at Clash in Paris, pretty much front row, and was still watching along on the watch along in the building. If that's true, Kieran, that's pretty cool. F. Sweezy says Seth Rollins versus CM Punk, Jey Uso versus LA Knight, of course, the Fatal 4-Way Championship for the World Heavyweight title. F. Sweezy says we got Punk or Jay. Of course, Roman Reigns versus Bronson Reed is going to be a big one. F. Sweezy thinks that Roman's going to win this. Also says as well, with post-match, I assume you mean there's going to be some sort of shenanigans after it as well. Let's get to the first match, Lynette says. We will do that in just a moment. Lynette will start bringing up the graphics very soon, don't you worry. And Kieran says 100% true. Kieran was watching the stream live from Leon in the front row, which thank you so much, man. It's really great to have you guys popping onto the stream anyway. And of course, recognizing the familiar names is always fun as well. So we appreciate you guys that join us for these streams, and hopefully some more familiar faces will pop up in this stream as well. Let's get to the subject at hand, though. Let's get to Clash in Paris. It's a big weekend in pro wrestling, and one of the matches we've got to look forward to is Sheamus versus Rusev. No, this is not 2015. It is 2025, and that is not an insult, by the way, to either man. I'm looking forward to this because it's a good old-fashioned Donnybrook match, whatever the heck that means, right? It's just a no-holds-barred, no DQ, Extreme Rules, hardcore match, whatever they want to call them, street fight. It's one of them, right? Good old-fashioned Donnybrook. We've had a few of these in WWE before, of course. If it is Sheamus involved, they tend to do to use that phrasing. But Sheamus versus his former buddy, right? And he was very harsh about what he said on, was it on Raw, that promo, where he said, no one wanted you back, mate. Which is very harsh. Rusev was a lot more down the line of, yeah, I'm going to destroy you and all that kind of mega heel stuff. But yeah, a kind of a bit of back and forth between two former friends. It'll be interesting to see how this match plays out. I think Sheamus may feel like he's got a point to prove, as will Rusev. I mean, Rusev's come back to WWE since, what was it, the Raw after WrestleMania? And let's be honest, they ain't done anything with him, really. Sheamus is not really a featured superstar anymore. He had a few moments over the past few years where it was confusing because it felt like he was going to be featured quite heavily. The last time he was really featured was Clash at the Castle. I had privileged enough to be in attendance for that. So a magnificent IC title match between Sheamus and Gunther. Really hoped Sheamus would win. Didn't happen. Turns out the match could have nearly happened at all. There's stories going around at the moment that apparently Sheamus has said it was supposed to be Shinsuke Nakamura. I don't even remember that being a kind of feud on the fringes, which shows how kind of forgotten about that would have been anyway. As much as I like Shinsuke, I think the match we got was incredible. But the fact it didn't lead to anything is incredible in another sense. Really, really confusing. But will we get a kind of significant match for Sheamus here? I don't know, because it's not for a title. If anything, it's just to kind of lift Rusev back up to a position he was in before he left, maybe. So let's see where we get to with that match. Keep your comments coming, though. I want to know what's going on in your thoughts as far as what you think will happen at Clash in Paris. Lynette says, I'm not going to be watching SmackDown tonight. That's a shame for me because I'm going to be playing Among Us with some friends of mine. Well, you have some fun, Lynette. Don't you worry. Again, I've already seen it, so you will get some spoilers in this stream if you stay tuned. It was a fun show overall. There's a big, big ending, which doesn't really play into Clash in Paris, where it was a huge ending. If you haven't already seen our review, it's going to be re-uploaded on the channel as an on-demand video as well. It's also attached to the end of our watch-along that we did earlier on tonight. I don't know how Solo lost. There we go. That's the big Spoiler, Sammy looked like he was knocked out for something. Yeah, it was a big win, wasn't it, for Sami Zayn? Sheamus is going to win in reference to the match we're talking about here at Clash in Paris as Lynette. And Kieran says, I forgot about that one. Kieran says, have I met Rusev before or nah? Funnily enough, Kieran, I have met Rusev. I've interviewed Rusev, but we never ever used the footage. We had a bit of a technical issue. We interviewed Rusev and Lana together. It was a fun interview, but we just never did anything with it. So I was actually thinking, funnily enough, today about whether or not we should upload it. So let me know if you guys want to see that. It's a few years old now, so the stories maybe not be... I can't quite remember the whole kind of interview. May not be as relevant, but I'm pretty sure I have access to the footage and I can get it back. I remember we were talking about the WrestleMania tank entrance, which I think people might want to hear about anyway, right? So let me know if you do want to see that. But I did interview Rusev and Lana. It might seem a bit odd uploading it now because it was years ago. But hey, if Lana comes back into the fold, it'll be relevant again. So that'd be quite nice, right? Who's Lana, Kieran? Did you not see when Rusev was in WWE before? Lana was his manager and wife. Yeah, so they were very much in storyline together at the time. But of course, Lana stayed in WWE when Rusev left. Then she left herself. Rusev went to AEW, of course, as Miro, and now has found his way back to WWE. Not quite on the level he was on before, in my opinion, even though he kind of slipped up last time around. That's why he went in the first place, it would seem. But still a very entertaining character when done right. So we'll see if this goes somewhere. If I'm going to pick a prediction for this one, I'm not going to go for Sheamus, even though I want him to do well. I want him to win the Intercontinental title, and that's not this. So he doesn't need to win here, in my opinion. I think Rusev needs the win. He needs to look strong on this occasion. Let me know what you think, though, in the comments below. Do you think it's going to be a Sheamus victory, or do you think it's going to be a Rusev victory? Again, let me know your thoughts on that one. Now, it's one of 6 matches that have been announced so far. I know what you're thinking. 6 matches? That's right. 6 matches have been announced for Clash in Paris. We don't usually get cards like that. Evolution was a little bit different because it was kind of a special... They're all special events, but a special event in the sense it was a kind of monumental one. You know, it was a women's event. Then we had SummerSlam. It's over 2 nights. That's a little bit different as well. But generally speaking, they're 5-match or sometimes 4-match cards if you have like Chambers or Rumbles and War Games and things like that. They tend to go to 4-match cards. But somehow we've got 6 matches. And one of those matches we've got is the owner of the Ulafala and the owner of the Shulafala going up against each other. Bronson Reed taking on Roman Reigns. Now, this is one I am quite looking forward to. I think it's a storyline they built quite well. And it's a great example of someone kind of moving into that upper tier, right? Now, of course, he's not the biggest guy in his group. That is Seth Rollins. But Bronson Reed is in that group, you would imagine, to try and lift him to a kind of better place in the card. And I do think that's what we're going to get here. I think we're actually going to get a victory for Bronson Reed. Well, I think we should get a victory for Bronson Reed. But saying that, we go back to Monday Night Raw. Who left that looking better? Maybe Bronson Reed already, you know, in the promos and stuff like that. And, but then there was that attack backstage where Roman Reigns came out and he was held back. So maybe not. Maybe Roman Reigns got the one up. And so therefore it will be Bronson Reed winning here. It's always hard to tell when they kind of do this kind of backwards and forward booking. You know, whoever looks strong in a go home show doesn't always win. But I'd love to see a percentage on that, like what the actual facts are for that. Aiden's back in the house, says hello. And Kieran, did you enjoy SmackDown? Of course, as we said earlier on, Kieran says he was there live in Lyon for it as well. Aiden says Roman wins this one. I wouldn't be surprised if Roman wins, don't get me wrong, because he wins a lot. But I think this is an opportunity for Bronson Reed to look really strong. You could argue putting him in there with Roman Reigns. He looks strong anyway. I get where you might be coming from there. But for me, I think Bronson Reed should be winning this one. So I'm going to go for Bronson Reed here. Roman Reigns not picking up the victory, and that's because the owner of the Shulafala instead is going to pick up the win. Now, the only thing that holds me back from that is the fact that Roman Reigns hasn't really got the upper hand in this feud. You know, he is looking a little, not weak, but Bronson's got his number. He's got the Shulafala. Maybe Roman just takes back his shoes at the end of this match. Will that be how we see it play out? I don't know. Let me know in the comments, guys. Now, let's move on to the next match. We've got Becky Lynch versus Nikki Bella. Now, this is a match I was really looking forward to when it first started kind of looking like this would be taking place at Clash as well. This is, of course, for the Women's Intercontinental Championship. I think they shot themselves in the foot in some ways with Liva Valkyria not being able to challenge, but she is now moving on to something else, it seems, with Bayley. So Becky needs a new opponent, and I was always on the side of giving Becky the title was a good thing because it made the title mean something if a future Hall of Famer like Becky Lynch is holding it. So I agree with that, and I think, do we need to do that twice with Nikki Bella? Maybe you don't need to do it, but I don't think there's a harm in doing it. Going back to my excitement levels for the match, as I say, I was looking forward to this one quite a bit, and then I saw the promo on Raw, and I've already touched on this a bit on my Raw review, and of course on the Raw watch along. But I wasn't a fan of Becky Lynch's comments about Ozzy Osbourne. I know some people will say, "Oh, she's a heel. That's just what heels do." For me, it's a matter of timing and delivery, and I think both of them were off. You know, it's a very kind of tricky situation. This is someone dealing with someone's personal grief, and I didn't think it was fair to do that. Obviously, Kelly Osbourne's responded. Look, millions of I say millions, plenty of content creators and kind of opinionists and columnists and reviewers have kind of touched on this already, podcasters, so I won't dive into it too much again. You'll see my thoughts on those original streams, but that kind of put a sour taste in my mouth, you know. And also the rest of that promo, I don't think Nikki Bella was great in it either. It just didn't land. So it kind of, my excitement levels for this match have dipped. But I'm hoping that on the night, you know, once I kind of get in the mood and the promo package hits and stuff like that, that I will be looking forward to it a little bit more. What are your thoughts on this one, guys? Are you looking forward to this match? And again, when you look at it, it is, I was going to say future Hall of Famer versus future Hall of Famer, but it's at the moment, it's actually future Hall of Famer versus Hall of Famer. Of course, Nikki Bella's already in the Hall of Fame. So for a Hall of Famer to pick up the Intercontinental Championship, I think will be a pretty good thing for that title as well. Maybe it's going to happen, or maybe it's going to happen at a later date. This is the first match between the two of these in this feud, as far as I can recall. There's been a bit of back and forth between them for a few months now, but maybe now's not the time. The next one, of course, is WrestlePalooza in September. Then October, I imagine they're going to bring back Bad Blood. Maybe you do it there. But I do think Nikki Bella probably will take the title off of Becky Lynch. Where we go from there, I don't know. But at the same time, I can't see any other challenger at the moment for Becky Lynch, because the people I do are hanging around other titles. You've got Julia with the US already. You've got Meechin going after that. You got Chelsea Green kind of in the tag team sort of realm now, maybe, after what we saw on SmackDown. We've also got Stephanie Vaquer looking to go after the world title, and we don't know where that's going to go now that Naomi's not competing. So, it's kind of up in the air, essentially, where we would go as far as challenges for Becky next if Nikki doesn't continue this feud. So maybe Nikki doesn't do it this time and she wins it in the future. But I wouldn't be against the idea of Nikki Bella winning the Intercontinental Championship. I think it would be pretty good for the title and pretty good, of course, for a CV. As I said, the same thing for Becky Lynch when she won it as well. I think it was the right decision. Let me know what you think, though, in the comments. Do you think Nikki Bella is coming out of Paris with Intercontinental gold around her waist? It would be quite the story. Talking of stories, again, we've already seen SmackDown here in the UK at time of recording, so we are going to feature a little bit of SmackDown spoilers here. But number one contendership match took place on SmackDown. Of course, it was the Street Profits versus Melo Don't Miz, and to my surprise, the winners were, again, tune out if you don't want spoilers just yet and come back in a bit. messed up there. I was like, oh, wait, who was it? It was the Street Profits. Now, Melo and Miz sadly didn't pick up the win. I was actually intrigued by them winning, and it didn't happen. We'll see where they go in their story. There's also a story bubbling under the surface with the Street Profits, though, right? There are a lot of rumors about them breaking up, and I think they're playing into it now as well. Even Bo Dallas tried to drive a little bit of a wedge between the two on SmackDown before the match as well. Of course, did the same with Miz and Carmelo, and then cost them the match, which was a bit odd in itself, as the White Six. But this is quite an interesting one to predict, because I don't think we should be taking the titles off of the White Six just yet, and I don't think the Street Profits need it. So maybe that's what this is. Maybe this is their explosion. Again, they're kind of playing into it a little bit already. I think this could be it, guys. I really do wonder, or is it too soon? You say too soon. They've been a tag team for years. There have been rumors about this for years itself, but it's only just started to kind of play out on screen. So maybe it'd be too soon. But I mean, imagine the shock if one of them turns in Paris. It would be a big story. But let me know what you think is going to happen. As far as the match goes, whether or not we get the surprise turn, I don't know. But I'm going to go with the White Six picking up the win here. And you know what? I'm going to commit. I'm going to say the Street Profits explode after it. Ugh. I don't know. If I'm right, I'm right. If I'm not, so be it. But yeah, we might see the end of the Street Profits this weekend in Paris. Be interested to see who turns on who, if that's the case, right? Who do you think it would be? Would it be Montez Ford turning on Angelo Dawkins, or would it be Angelo Dawkins turning on Montez Ford? Let us know in the comments. And let us know again who you think will win this match. I want to know overall what you think is going to happen at Clash in Paris. Keep the conversation flowing, whether you're watching live or on demand. We appreciate you, and we want to know your thoughts on this PLE. Moving on from the Tag Team Championship, we've got a big match here. John Cena, with only limited dates left. I believe Lucas said on our SmackDown watch along, there's 8 left, I think, after SmackDown. And one of those is going to be used up by facing Logan Paul. Now, I think one of the highlights of SmackDown, both in Dublin and in Lyon these past 2 weeks, have been these back and forths between John Cena and Logan Paul. Logan Paul is constantly getting better on the microphone and in the ring. And John Cena, of course, is on his way out. But I do think this is going to be an impressive match. I think Cena's going to want to maybe do well for Logan and shine a spotlight on him if he thinks he's deserving. And I think that Logan is going to want to impress and do as much as he can to impress who many consider to be the greatest of all time. I don't, put it out there, but still a big figure in the world of pro wrestling's history, right? So this is going to be an interesting one. I do think it's going to be a fun match. It might even be kind of match of the night as far as storytelling goes. I think this has real potential. But who's going to win it, guys? Would it be Logan Paul? Or would it be John Cena? John Cena had some really harsh remarks talking about him not really being as influential as he thinks he is. Logan Paul trying to take credit for Netflix and ESPN deals and stuff like that. Cena's not having the end of it. Weirdly enough, compared himself to Logan Paul. He seems to do that a lot with wrestlers these days, and not for me. Those characters do not align. The only way to did is recently, I guess, Cena was a bad guy and was kind of the stuff that Cena ironically, hypocritically, and short-sightedly was telling Logan about not to do was the stuff that he was kind of doing weeks ago. So it was a bit weird in that sense. But that's been the build for this. Look, it's had its challenges, but it's also had, again, quite fun moments. I am really looking forward to this one, guys. I really have high hopes for it, which is saying something for someone who is on their way out as far as John Cena and isn't the most technically, I guess, gifted wrestler or anything like that. But he's had some great matches in the past. Big Match John, he's got that name for a reason. It's true. I know they tried to say it was because he just kind of pulled off big victories, but I think a lot of people use it in the sense that he pulls off surprisingly good matches at times. And that's not me trying to slight him, but again, he's stylistically very different to a lot of the guys that traditionally have certain types of wrestling matches. But when he gets in there with him, he has a great time. and really, really kind of impresses. And I think this could be an opportunity to do that. I mean, Randy Orton versus John Cena this year was very entertaining. And again, two guys that are kind of on the tail end of their career, pulling off something like that. Yes, two of the best to ever do it by many people's standards. Logan Paul's not up there, but what Logan Paul does have is potential and current kind of youth and energy and stuff like that, and the bags of talent as well. So I really do think this is one to watch. Looking forward to this match. As I say, one of the matches I'm most looking forward to. And as Lucas said on the on the instant reaction for SmackDown, look, this is a stopgap match. This is basically just giving John Cena something to do while Lesnar's not there. We imagine Lesnar is going to face off against John Cena at WrestlePalooza, but will Brock Lesnar show up on Sunday night at Clash in Paris? I mean, it would be weird if they did the same spot twice. So part of me thinks he's not going to show up, and this will just be Cena looking good, and then maybe he'll show up on SmackDown, but we'll have to see, because, before you know it, WrestlePalooza is going to be here. We are getting into the end of August now, and WrestlePalooza is just 20 days into September. So, about 3 weeks away, essentially, depending on when you're watching this. Now, the big main event, and again, this is maybe not main event. What is going to close this show, guys? I think it will be this match. It's the Fatal 4-Way match. LA Knight, CM Punk, Jey Uso, and Seth freaking Rollins. I'm going to be quick with this prediction because I don't think anything's happening. I think as far as like titles changing, I think Seth Rollins walks in champ, and I think he walks out champ. I don't see why Seth Rollins would have this massive cash in, new title reign, just to lose it in just a month. I don't think that's what they should do. I think giving them the title in the way they did, which was very entertaining, was something to help bolster the vision. They've got a name now. Bronson's looking good. Bron looking decent as well. Now, I did see some people speculating that we might get a new member in Paris. Now, we're predicting a lot of big things to go down in Paris, and we've already seen some pretty big things on this European tour already. And I'm expecting maybe big things on Raw as well, with Dominic Mysterio versus AJ Styles potentially being a title changer as well. So, look, I don't see a title change in here, but I do wonder if we are going to get a fifth member to the division. Now, who would that be? Who would you like it to be? I would like it to be Becky Lynch. I think Becky Lynch's character would align quite well. You could argue she's doing her own thing, and that's going well. But I would like to see Becky and Seth heal it up on camera together. I think that'd be pretty cool. Gives a new and different dynamic to the stable. Or do we see someone else? And if so, who would that be? Again, let me know in the comments what you think is going to happen in this match. But also, if you think the vision is going to expand our vision at Clash in Paris, I do think we could see that. I mean, we've seen some big things at Clash events in the past. We saw Dominic Mysterio turn his back on Edge and Rey Mysterio and essentially join the Judgment Day. We saw the debut of Solo Sikoa on the main roster of WWE to help Roman Reigns against Drew McIntyre, again in that first Clash at the Castle. This isn't at a castle, but it's a Clash event. So we'll Clash in Paris, see some big storyline progression. I got a good feeling about this one. A lot of the PLEs that have been international haven't been the most noteworthy. They've been fun shows, and the crowds have made them really enjoyable. I think that'll be the same here, but I do think we're more likely to get storyline progression with this one here. Just because of the stories that we got going into it. I think it's a really strong card. This match, though, is the opposite as far as, excitement about a title changing. I really don't think it's going to happen, but I do think there could be storyline progression in the sense that we get a new stable member, and it's another a big bad person to join the division. But we'll go through the possibilities here. I mean, Jey Uso winning the World Heavyweight Championship just doesn't seem likely to me. We've had the Jey Uso situation. It was good while it lasted. It got us to where we needed to go, both with Jey in his career and the WWE's kind of title picture. But yeah, I don't think we need that at the moment. I don't think it's going to be that. Maybe Jay will win another title in his career. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, it's not happening at Clash in Paris. LA Knight is someone that it does, in my opinion, need to win a world title. I know the kind of brakes have been put on him and things have cooled down a little bit lately. And he's in a really precarious situation at the moment. I mean, he's facing off against someone like Seth Rollins, who's a heel, but people really enjoy. Jey Uso is massively over, and CM Punk, who is also massively over as well. Yes, LA Knight is very much over himself, but when they don't pull the trigger on a guy like this, it can get a little stale. And then he's in there with, he's playing the good guy that acts bad, the kind of anti-hero like Austin would. And that doesn't always work, when you go up against pure baby faces or nostalgic pop baby faces like CM Punk. So yeah, he's a little bit at risk here, but I think he's been holding his own in the feud. I just don't think he's getting the gold here. Again, I do think he should. I think he should be getting a world championship at some point. He has the kind of credentials, in my opinion, to go for that. CM Punk, though, look, I mean, he won his title at SummerSlam. It was a huge moment. It was really nice, and then it was cashed in on. It was a incredible moment as far as the cash in and the kind of twist as well. Even if people were calling it, I was one of them from the get go as he faked the injury, and you got to remember that was against LA Knight as well. So it's been stewing for a while now. I don't see Punk winning it back, and especially not this soon. He might win it back at WrestleMania, or he might be holding the title going into WrestleMania, but I don't see Seth Rollins giving it up to CM Punk just yet. There's a way bigger story to tell with Seth and Punk beyond this Fatal 4-Way, and I think that's where they go. It might be where they go straight away. It might be them two going into WrestlePalooza and then into October. Again, if we have Hell in a Cell-based matches, Bad Blood, then that's a feud that deserves a Hell in a Cell, right? We saw it with Drew McIntyre and CM Punk. They're the two big feuds that have been kind of interwoven in CM Punk's kind of story, essentially, since he came back. But like I say, I don't see anything big happen here as far as a title change goes, but I do have a sneaky suspicion that we will get a new member of the Vision. I'm not 100% sure who it is, but I know that I would like it to be Becky Lynch. Again, let me know in the comments, guys, what you think is going to happen at Clash in Paris. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel, because it's not just streams like this. We also have great opportunities to interview WWE superstars. So we've got interviews on this channel, as I mentioned earlier on. We've interviewed we've interviewed Rusev, but it's not up. But what you can find on this channel is we have had a conversation with LA Knight. We've had a good conversation with Drew McIntyre in the past. We've also had conversations with the Street Profits when they are a tag team still. Will that be the case over the weekend? Who knows? So if you haven't already, check those out as well. We've also got on this channel reviews of Monday Night Raw and SmackDown from this week. So if you haven't caught up with those shows, or if you want to see my thoughts and the rest of the crew's thoughts on those, then do make sure you check those out as well. You're currently watching the Weekend Kickoff show because WWE aren't doing one. We are in his place. But we are also going to have our build-up show as well. So make sure you subscribe to the channel. Build Up Show gets you hyped up and in the mood. It will feature some of the replays from this week, but some live content as well, talking about the last minute rumors flying around Clash in Paris as we get there. Now, it's quite rare that we get to do watch-alongs for these shows, but because they're in Europe, we are getting to do it because they're on at reasonable times. So we will also have a watch-along for Clash in Paris. Again, we don't do them often, but we will be doing it this time around. But like I say, before that, we're going to be hit you with a build-up show, as we always do on the PLE nights. Then we'll have an instant reaction review, much like we've had for Raw and SmackDown this week as well. So stay tuned for that on this very channel. As I say, you are, though, watching at the moment the Weekend Kickoff show for what is hopefully going to be a big weekend for WWE. Bit strange again that the pay-per-view is going to be, or the PLE is taking place on Sunday like the old pay-per-views did. But look, it will be once it gets here, I think people are going to be hyped up and in the mood. Maybe that extra day of waiting is going to really help build that kind of buzz around it anyway. That's what I hope we've done here tonight, and I hope you've enjoyed the stream. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed hearing my predictions and thoughts on these storylines and these matches at Clash in Paris. Just Paris. Well, I said it like I was from Paris then, didn't I, baby? Let's break down some of these big moments that are potentially looking to come out of the card here as well. So again, I've gone for a Rusev victory in Sheamus versus Rusev. Roman Reigns versus Bronson Reed, I'm kind of torn over. I think Bronson picking up the win would be good, but at the same time, weirdly enough, does Roman Reigns need a win? I think maybe. Then we've got Nikki Bella facing off against Becky Lynch, trying to pry the Intercontinental Championship away from her hands, and I think she has a good chance of doing so. But much like the last match, I do wonder if that would be the second or third match in the series rather than the first, where we see the change in the hands or changing on the guard, maybe with Bronson Reed. Then, of course, just announced we've got a tag team title match: Street Profits versus the Wyatt Six. My opinion is that the Wyatt Six will win this, and that we might actually get that heel turn from either Angelo Dawkins or Montez Ford. Who is it more likely to be? Even that itself is a debate. Then John Cena versus Logan Paul. I don't think I actually predicted who I think is going to win this one. So I'm going to go with John Cena. I think he's got to look good before he faces Brock Lesnar. So let's see if John Cena can pick up the victory here like I predict. And then in the main event, surely what will be in the main event, because it's a title match, but you never know with WWE. It could be Logan Paul versus John Cena for all we know. I'm predicting a successful retention for the visionary Seth freaking Rollins. Again, I do think we are going to possibly get a new member. Maybe I'm predicting too much here. A Seth Rollins stable new member, Street Profits turn, a title change in the IC title match for the women. Maybe that's too much. I mean, I don't think all of those things will happen, but I think maybe one of them has a good chance. Let's get to some of these comments here as well. As I said earlier on, Aiden thinks Roman is going to win. Lynette says, to be honest, I think I'm going to go with Nikki Bella because Becky Lynch has no guts to be beaten. Nikki Bella, she's definitely playing the cowardly heel at the moment. I'm going to skip John Cena, says Lynette, and Logan Paul. I hate them both. Yeah, Cena's not won you back over, no. I mean, he had that lovely moment with a fan that he had upset in Brussels on the Paris show, on the Lyon show, I should say, but definitely hasn't won Lynette back over. Definitely Jey Uso, says Lynette, in the Fatal 4-Way match. I think that's a big call there. If Jey Uso wins, I would be very surprised to see him as a World Heavyweight Champion. But that's the beauty of a Fatal 4-Way. It could go, one of, 4 ways, and it doesn't look good for the champion, as they say. I think this time round, it probably will work in the champion's favor. Roman Reigns is definitely going to win, says Lynette. Doesn't see my kind of opinion of Bronson Reed picking up the win, but that's fair enough. I do think Bronson Reed might pick up the win in this feud eventually further down the line, but maybe in Paris you just need the OTC sticking up his ones and getting the appreciation and acknowledgement from the audience once the bell's rung as well. Lynette says, Scott, I didn't see how Mia Yim went up against Julia last week and determined to get a title match against Julia. Yeah. Oh, you didn't like it? Sorry. Yeah, I think the thing is with Mia Yim, Michin, she's not really got the reward, I think, for the position she's been in for quite a while. I think she's really done quite well. She's been in and around things like tournaments and getting close to finals and just losing and just, not winning titles. So I do think that she probably deserves to win something soon. But it would be a shame if they took it off Julia so quickly. It doesn't feel quick because she's had it for a while, but she's just not been on TV. So, it isn't that quick, but it feels quicker. But yeah, you say she's not on the level of Julia. I think Julia is an incredible competitor. And we've only seen kind of a little bit of what she can do, right? So yeah, I agree with you there. She is fantastic. Michi's a different kind of character, a different kind of wrestler, but in her own right, I think deserves to get a reward every now and then. So we'll see where we go with that one. Of course, that match isn't at Clash in Paris, but we do have a pretty stacked card anyway. But that's pretty much it, guys, for the show tonight for the weekend kickoff. Thank you to everyone that joined us on the SmackDown watch along and the SmackDown review, and also the Monday Night Raw review and watch along. We really appreciate you. Lynette says, Scott, I'm going to try and watch Friday Night SmackDown tonight because I forgot that I'm playing Among Us with some friends. They say, It's a good show. Again, had a big moment at the end, so I hope you do enjoy it, buddy. But that does bring us up to the end of the stream. As I mentioned, we're going to be going big for Clash in Paris this weekend. You've been watching the weekend kickoff, but don't forget, we are also going to bring you, as we always do with the PLEs, a build-up show for Clash in Paris. We are also going to hit you with a watch-along for Clash in Paris. We don't often get to do those, so it would be great if you could join us for that. Also on the build-up show, you will see a replay of this stream. You'd also see a replay of our Raw and SmackDown review, so if you've missed that, again, that's an opportunity for you to catch up with that sort of stuff as well. And then at the end of Clash in Paris, we're going to hit you with an instant reaction review. Again, that's the beauty about these shows being at a reasonable time. We can schedule some of our streams around them a little bit easier as well. So if you like what you see, please subscribe. Thank you to everyone that's joined us tonight, whether it be on the SmackDown shows or on the Weekend Kickoff show. Again, we thought we'd give you something, seeing as WWE haven't done the same this time around with their kickoff show. But I hope you've enjoyed this preview, and I hope you're going to join us for our streams on Sunday for Clash in Paris, which looks to be a promising PLE. But I've been Scott, and I thank you so much for joining us. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next one.
Welcome to the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel. On this channel, we bring you some great content from inside and outside of the squared circle. We will go through and offer some in-depth analysis of the biggest events of the year, as well as bringing you exclusive interviews with some of the industry's biggest names. There will also be live show reviews, in-depth features, and podcasts. So make sure you give that subscribe button a slam so you don't miss any of the action.